What's going on, guys? The Comics Kid 2099 here. Welcome to day 131 of the 365-day graphic novel review challenge. Today, I want to talk to you about another Spider-Man book. This is Spidey, First Day. This is the first 6 issues of that series by Robbie Thompson, Nick Bradshaw, and Andre Lima Araujo, and this is a series set during the early days of Peter Parker's career as Spider-Man. He's still in high school, he's still trying to figure out his life as a superhero, and also he's trying to figure out his life as a high school student. And I really like this series a lot, guys. Like, what's the most you can like a comic book? Because I am there with this series. This is fantastic. There are a number of things that are really hitting the sweet spot for me with this series. Number one, this is 6 standalone stories that all are building towards something bigger, and we don't get to see the bigger thing that it's building towards. I'm assuming you'll get to see that at the end of the series, but each issue stands great on its own, and that is a very big thing for me. When I was first getting into comic books, I hated it whenever I would pick up a comic that looked really good, and then I would open it up and it would say part 3 of a 6-part story. I would put it back and not read it because I don't want to jump into the middle of a story. And that's not a problem with this, because each issue stands great on its own. You get to see him fight the Sandman in one issue, the Lizard in one issue, Doctor Doom in one issue. You don't have any of this. This is a 6-part story where he's fighting Dr. Octopus or the Green Goblin or whatever. And I really like that. Now, like I said, it is building towards something else near the end of the series, and I'm okay with that also. I'm okay with arc-driven series, but I want each issue to be able to stand on its own. What if you have someone who wants to start reading comic books and they see issue 5 or 6 on the stands? They don't want the end of a longer story that they missed the first 4 parts to. So that is really great for this. Even whenever you're reading it in trade, I think that's still really good, because I don't necessarily want to pay $15 or $20 for one story. I feel like even though you're still getting the same number of pages, if you buy this, you're getting 6 stories, and I personally feel like you're getting more bang for your buck that way. I also really like the artwork. Half of it is by Nick Bradshaw, who I fell in love with when he was doing Wolverine and the X-Men, and I'm really glad to see that he was able to do some Spider-Man stuff here. I loved his designs for all the characters. The other artist, Andre Lima Araujo, I don't like him as much as Bradshaw, but he's still doing very good work here, and they did a really good job picking somebody who has kind of a similar tone and style to Bradshaw. It's very clearly not the same artist, but he's still kind of working in that same sandbox, so he did a really good job following up on Bradshaw, and I'm very curious to see what he's going to be doing later on in his career. But I really liked everything that we had here. One thing that might bother Spider-Man fans that didn't really bother me is that this does contradict some of the continuity of the main Marvel 616 continuity. You've got Harry Osborn and Gwen Stacy. They are high school peers of Peter Parker in this book. And in the original Silver Age continuity of Marvel Comics, Gwen Stacy and Harry Osborn did not know Peter in high school. They didn't meet him until he started going to college. And so that didn't bother me because I enjoyed this book so much. The way that I looked at this is it's kind of like a better version of the Ultimate Universe or All-Star Superman for Spider-Man. That's how I looked at it. It's not necessarily in continuity, but it's still a very good story, and it's accessible to anybody. The way I looked at this, it's kind of like they were marketing this towards people who have seen the Spider-Man movies, but they haven't ever read a Spider-Man comic before, and then they can read this and they can enjoy it. And those people aren't necessarily going to know that Harry Osborn and Gwen Stacy didn't go to high school with Peter Parker. So it doesn't matter to them that they are high school peers for Peter in this book. And it didn't matter to me either. I just wanted to bring that up. If this was an X-Men book, I would have definitely been whining and crying about some of the continuity snafus that they would have had. But as is, this is a Spider-Man book, and Spider-Man is not a franchise that I'm super familiar with, and when I am familiar with it, for example, I know that Gwen and Harry didn't go to high school with Peter. When I do know stuff like that, it doesn't bother me because I'm not as into it as I am X-Men or Batman or something like that. But this, I think, is a really great way to get someone into Spider-Man if they've seen the movies or they've seen some of the cartoons and they want to dip their toes into the waters of the comics. This would be a really great way to introduce somebody to Spider-Man. I really like this series. I wish it went on another 75 issues. I really would have liked to have seen what this creative team could have done with a whole lot more Spider-Man stuff. So those are my thoughts on Spidey, First Day. I hope that you guys liked this video, and if you did, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will be back tomorrow with a different video. In the meantime, you guys have a great rest of the day. Catch you later.